What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Can We Get That in Vertical? Podcast brought to you by Creative Cult. Aaron and Brock back at it again with you for another episode. Brock, how are we doing?
Very well, thank you. Excited as always to catch up on the world of content, creative, marketing, chat about the business, and just how we excite and push each other every single week.
We love it. We fill each other's cup, that's for sure. Each and every week, we love sharing stuff with each other and talking about the same thing, which is always nice. Something that let's kick off with this, is something that you mentioned to me this week that we started to do at our business. It came from a podcast that you were listening to from Christo, The Future. Did you talk about that? The 100 thing.
Yes.
Our like a vision board kind of thing.
Yeah. So what is it? What's it called? 100 no's, basically. What do they call it? Something therapy?
Rejection therapy.
Rejection therapy is the word I was looking for. Thank you, Aaron. It has become very popular over the last 6 to 12 months. As we all get in touch with our feelings, as a constant human chase towards zenith, we always search for new things, and rejection therapy has become quite popular. But I am a big fan of Christo. If you haven't gotten around him and you want any kind of small business marketing and business ideas and concepts, he really always interviews them. Just interesting people that aren't famous. They have great concepts and great ideas that they've fleshed out. And he himself will always be a proponent of learning. So at podcasts he does, he's interviewing someone where he wants to learn something from them. And it's always interesting to hear him like talk that out, which makes it even more special for you when you're learning in. And so this podcast was all about this woman that had gone on a journey over the last 12 months where she was a small graphic designing firm on her own in New York City. And she was trying to figure out, she'd run into Christo basically at he was speaking at something, bought his book. And then one of her friends like just haphazardly said, you should hit Chris up. You've got a podcast. You talk all about, what people it wasn't graphic design, it was website design. You'd get people on and you tell them how they do their small business and etc. And she's like, oh, that's a great idea. Like that maybe we can connect. She DMs him. He replies, as he does because he's such a legend. And basically just says, what are your download numbers? And they weren't that good at the time. And he goes, look, thank you so much for reaching out, but come back to me when your numbers are a bit more like this, not these. And she had a situation where the reaction that she had internally and externally to that no was far greater than what she had thought would happen, because like you were expecting a no, like she was just hitting him up out of the 1% chance that he might say yes, knowing that really what she had was not much value to offer him. But it hurt her and she didn't understand why. So she'd seen it happen around with rejection therapy and stuff. And she went, okay, I'm going to go on this journey. 100 no's. What are the clients? So she went and looked at clients she wants to work with, people she wanted on a podcast, other people's podcasts that she wanted to be on. And she just made a list of 100 people. Now she goes, just the work of creating a list of 100 people. Now the list can be as big and bold or as slow and steady as you want. Just that creating the list and then having to, physically go around and find those people's contacts as well, because obviously like we're going through the same thing now. I went, this is such a great idea. It's like, you write down Nike and you're like, okay, who the fuck can we talk to at Nike? So we'll now have to figure out, it's like, okay, who is someone in Australia? Who is someone in, let's say Sydney that works for Nike that is kind of on our wavelength that would understand concepts that we're talking about. And then you kind of, that's where the kind of the work and the bit of the therapy comes in. And then you just figure out, okay, what do we have to offer them? But what she's doing for each individual person was pitching them. So actually creating something where, okay, this is how I feel like we can work together. So whether it was for a podcast guest or whether it was to go onto a podcast or whether it was for business, she was literally going, like doing the work. So she was only doing a couple a week. And then what happened is, and you probably already guessed it, is over time, she actually couldn't complete the task at all because she had started to turn in it, like the whole rejection therapy, the whole 100 no's had started to turn in on itself. And she was now getting approached by the people that she was thinking of that were on her list. So
Yeah, it's just like,
she
yeah,
got
it was
so
like
busy.
manifesting. Like she put them on the list, and they were just like coming at her
Mm.
already, which is crazy. And so yeah, Brock and I have made up our own, or started to make up
The
our own
beginnings
list
of, yeah.
at work on the whiteboard, and yeah, I think next week we'll start making pictures. I think we said like 2 a week is a safe number for us to work towards, where we just are sending out pictures to people we want to work with, brands we want to work with, businesses we want to collaborate with, all that kind of stuff. So, but it's like, you kind of think 100 is a lot,
Just
and
that work alone.
mm, just that
I
work
mean,
alone for
what did we
sure.
get to? Like, we got to like 35 already, and we're like, oh,
Yeah,
who?
like haven't I named every brand ever? Are there more brands than 35? I think there's only 35 in the world.
The S&P 500 would beg to differ.
But yeah, I thought that was a fun project that we did this week, and something that I'm keen to
Yeah, sorry
get
if that was a
stuck
bit
into.
long too, but please, yeah, go check out the future. Go check out Christo, the podcast. That episode, great listen, good 45, 60 minutes of just a, an everyday small business operator turning their business into big business. And she's a public speaker now, all in 12 months. Like she's now
Mm.
speaking about this journey. So she the little caveat was she documented all of it. So she posted every time she sent a pitch, and mentioned the fact that she was going to start this journey. So what happened was everyone ended up following along, and now she's like the go-to person for rejection therapy, kind of 100 no's, like, and that's what happens. People, you go on this journey and you make sure you tell everyone about it, and it turns into something else. So
Mm.
congratulations to her, and yeah, I definitely recommend go to check out the episode after you listen to our episode, of course.
Of course, yeah. Just queue it up right after this one. Something else exciting that was good to do. It was like something that we've talked about wanting to do since like the end of last year. It's been on our whiteboard to do, which is just more creative concepts. Client work is, can be not as creative sometimes because you're executing a client's vision as opposed to your own vision, which is, that's the game. But to be creatively free with something, or shoot concepts that I want to shoot, is something that I've wanted to get back into. And so last week, we went to Star Runner at Pacific Fair with a model that we know, Esha, and we picked up some New Balances, and we went out that afternoon and shot some like spec campaign work, a little bit for Star Runner, a little bit for New Balance, and it was a really good. It was a really good time. I had a great time, and I loved being creative and shooting shots that I wanted to shoot, and telling a story how I wanted to tell it. And I mean, I'm not one to toot my own horn publicly, so Brock can tell you how the content
Well,
came out.
really, I kind of want to dig a little bit deeper. Is like, what was, obviously, there's two things I've pushed you over this last 3 months, which is like, well, number one, we're going to hire an editor, because obviously, if you want the business to grow, Aaron has to offload some of the work. You can't wear all the work 24/7. And the other one was to do this creative concept. When I kind of was pushing for that, what's your process in that situation? So when you're like, okay, I'm going to do this shoot, do you do up your own vision board, or do you just kind of hands free it,
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah. So
let it
I
come to
guess
you
the
on the day?
process, the process was like first asking like Esha to see if she was cool with it, and she was. So I was sending her some concepts of some ideas that I wanted to shoot, and some styles of stuff that I wanted to shoot, and she was down to shoot like some streetwear, kind of a bit more, yeah, a bit more like streetwearish, as opposed to I guess, what she would normally model, which is, dresses and like, yeah, more cleaner outfits kind of vibe. So yeah, we agreed on a concept. We've got a few more planned in store, but yeah,
where do you start with like that? Like, what do you usually start on? Was it like Pinterest or
Instagram reels.
like you'll just see stuff?
I'll just see stuff that I like from brands that I like or shooters that I like, and yeah, get the ideas from there. I did get like some photo inspo from Pinterest, but I think, obviously we're kind of a video first agency, small screen specialists. We yeah, the photos. I think the photos are like secondary to the video. Obviously, it's a complete package, but yeah, the video concept was kind of something that I wanted to do, and it was, when this podcast comes out, the video will be out already, but it's very and it has a lot of energy, and it's, not polished, which I like.
Do you find it's easier to? I mean, you talk about involving Escher in the process. Do you find it easier if like whether it be the brand or the person that you're working with kind of fully understands everything that you want to do and kind of is in your corner in a sense, like that makes it easier to vibe and get
100%.
a really solid shoot through?
Yeah, because, like, in another world, Escher could be like, yeah, it's all right. Like, what if we do this kind of thing? And then it's like, there's like clashing of ideas and like compromise in that kind of situation. Whereas like for this one, Escher was like, yeah, cool, sweet. What do you want? What do you want to do? And I was like, cool, let's do this, let's do that. And she was like fully on board. So it was like fully my creative vision, my direction, which is what I wanted out of it. Essentially, I wanted to have that creative freedom to shoot what I wanted.
And yeah, like to go back to the start of the convo where Aaron introduced they're bangers. Like, I think the message I sent him was like, "Did you have to snap? Did you have to snap this hard, bro?" Like, it's like, geez, flex on them or something. I will drop a little tidbit. Bubble text is 2024's new form of writing to each other. Bubble text only.
If you're not putting bubble text on some merch, what are you doing?
Yeah, if I just shut the shop right now. But yeah, I'm really excited for Aaron to drop that and post that around a bit and get it out there. And obviously, we'll be doing a collaboration post with Asher when it comes out. Really excited to see, because it's really funny. Like, I call Aaron Papa because a lot of the content creators and designers and stuff that are in the area tend to look or ask Aaron for advice, even though a lot of the times he is the junior in the room. But I think just having a uni degree kind of makes everyone think that you are the senior. But it's, I think, more than anything because we try to push the boundary, like we try to do different stuff rather than just stay in like client work.
Yeah.
Box.
Yeah. And I think, but yeah, and also I think, if I think there could be like a stigma of like, if you're an agency, you're just like stuck doing client work, but it's like, well, no, we have a brand as well, and we create content to fit that brand as well. Yeah.
Oh. Yeah. Sick.
So yeah, that was really fun, and excited to get that out there, and excited to do that more. I definitely need to do it in the next month or two again. Ash was really happy with it. She was sold on it, so I'm sure it'll be easy to get her on board for another one, which would be cool. But yeah, that was fun.
The definitely every quarter minimum, I reckon, is good.
Mate, once we get this editor, I'll have so much free time.
Do all my work. And then we had, I think, one final tool that guys would have seen come up across socials. If you haven't, please go check it out. Please Google Sora, the latest video AI. I'll let you explain a bit more, Aaron. You've seen a couple of videos that are like absolute bangers.
Yeah, so OpenAI, which is the same company that makes ChatGPT.
Elon says closed AI.
They have finally released their video text to video platform called Sora, Sora, and it is
Wild.
quite unbelievable. Yeah, like you, and there's a lot of reference to an AI video that we saw like kind of this time last year, which was like AI video in its extremely infancy stage, where it's like this crazy clip of Will Smith eating spaghetti and like his face is all jumbled up. The plate is like moving all around the frame and it's just like complete hot garbage. And now seeing like the clips that Sora is producing is insane. It's so crazy. There's, if you look at the clips for too long, you can start to see the AI in them. But
Mm.
I mean, honestly, if you look at this, if you look at a clip for like 2 seconds, I think it would be very hard to distinguish what was real and what wasn't.
Yeah, what
Just
do we
like
watch? We watched that drone that flew through this art
so there
gallery,
was
and then
like
you're like, oh, the door opens
a
weird. Oh,
a
the guy's walking
bird's eye
backwards.
view of a drone flying through like a Italian Renaissance museum, and it like flies in through the roof, and which is like a crazy shot. But then like it starts going through the museum, and there's like a couple different angles that are a bit weird, and people are kind of walking nowhere. Um, but there's Japan shots of like cherry blossoms in bloom on a winter's day kind of thing. Just like crazy, crazy cool things. So if you haven't seen it, you definitely need to go check it out. Just look up Sora AI video, and there'll be heaps of
People have been
examples.
really doing funny stuff,
It's
like just dogs chatting to each other on a podcast.
yeah,
That was like
yeah.
I laughed for about 5 minutes on that one.
That's us.
Dogs on a Swedish. It was like a Swedish mountain top in a grassy knoll chatting on a podcast. I'm like, who
Who thought
brain
of that
is
first? Yeah.
messed up people.
But yeah, it's currently not out to the public. Only a few people have access to it now. So there's like they're drip feeding you the examples that are coming out. But as soon as this thing goes public, I mean, I can't see them not having this behind a paywall because the
Too
content is
powerful.
just too powerful. But yeah, expect to see if this is just the release. I can't wait to see what you know six
Well,
months has
you
in
think
store.
about ChatGPT after 12 months,
Mm.
like when it went from 2 to 3 to 3.5 to 4 in that 12-month period, 4 just shits on 2. Like it was just 2 was like fun to have. And 4 is like I must have 4. Like 4 is
Mm.
now I use it for business constantly. So like it's just just it, like even now thinking about ChatGPT 4, the ability, like everyone should be utilizing it in a sense of, and it's more just you have to work with someone, unfortunately, because it's still a little bit hard to get everything together, get all the automations together. But having text messages with a client, you could just have an AI plugged into that and have the AI getting them to sale, basically.
Mm.
Like that's how powerful that is. And then video AI is going to be, in a sense, basically make what we're doing obsolete, because you'll be like, here's a product, put that in Iceland on a like on a grassy knoll in with a
With the
bird flying
dogs
over.
podcasting.
Dog podcasting. Put this in the middle of the ocean with a tugboat floating past. Like there's just no end in sight for how powerful that's going to be and how easy it's going to be. Like if you think of CGI movies, that will be available to you at home within the next 5 years.
Mm.
Not, it won't be making a whole movie, but making a 2 to 5 minute clip that looks insane. It's like, okay, I want to make the next freaking Gorillas in the Mist movie. I've got it. Here's a snippet. Like think of all
Here's
the
the
think of all the
trailer.
fake trailers that are going to come out. That'll be sick.
Yeah, that will be sick. But yeah, so keep an eye on that. That's one to go have a look at if you haven't seen it. But that, I think, is it for this
That is
week.
that.
on the Can We Get That in Vertical podcast. Thank you for listening. Make sure to rate, review, subscribe, share it with a friend. Go and follow us on Instagram at CreativeColorAU. And we will see you on the next one.